Well, good morning. We're in a new room we set up. It's going to be our den. So it's still not set up. So I decided, I was thinking about something from yesterday that happened with Christopher and I. Christopher's here, so I will be talking to him. He doesn't know that he's going to be part of this, but what are you mumbling about?
Yeah.
Anyways, so we're having our morning coffee, and something interesting came up yesterday. Of course, it happens a lot, and at all times to all people in every place, and it's a weird thing, and people interpret it very differently. And some people think it's magical thinking, and some people think it's synchronicity. So I wanted to talk about that just briefly, because I really don't know what it is either. But I think it's an interesting topic. Some people that think about coincidences. I mean, a lot of times people just say they're coincidences, and they just kind of say, well, that's all that is. But I think it's more than coincidences. Maybe not all the time, but sometimes, but certainly something is going on beyond coincidences. So yesterday we were sitting around, and Chris has now, which I will put a link to, has done a book of his flash fiction and his art. I'll put a link on the bottom.
Wow.
I know, always giving, never taking. What can I say?
So true.
Yeah, anyways, so we were talking, and we were discussing his author page. And he doesn't show me things before he published things. I was like, you could just run it by me, maybe just fast. Not that I'm gonna, edit the whole thing, because he's a very good editor on his own.
Yeah.
So I was reading his author page on Amazon, and it could use a little work,
It's changed.
and he did change it. And I was reading it aloud, and I was stumbling over the words, and whenever you stumble over words, that means it needs to be edited. Something's wrong.
Wow.
Something was not right. Anyway, so we talked about it,
Wow.
and so the morning went on, and
Because it does.
as it does, and at some point he goes, "There's a card under your chair. This chair. This is this wonderful recliner, and there's a card under there, and it was really tucked under." This swivels. It was tucked right over the swivel part, tucked pretty far in. But he could see it where he was. I couldn't see it. So I went over, and it was just a random card that came out of the Oracle of Radiant Sun.
I'll show that.
And then it was this card, which I saw, and my jaw dropped. And it was this card. It was, I don't know if you can see it. It looks like it's backwards. Anyways, it says criticism. So I looked at it, and I kind of laughed, and he was, "What does it say?" And I showed it to him, and he goes, "Criticism," which is just what we were sort of doing, a criticism of his work. Now, could just be a coincidence, of course. However, this morning, I did do a video on this deck, this Oracle. I was advising people to buy this for Christmas, because it's a great deck to have fun with and learn about astrology. And but I just looked at my video, and I didn't do the video in this room. I did the video in the other room, and I also did not pick this card. So how did this card get under my chair? I ask you. I don't know. I don't know how it got under my chair, but it got under my chair. Now, so that's what I'm talking about. Talking about things that are coincidences or weird things that happen. Now, the other thing you hear about a lot, I wrote a few notes here, which of course are blacking out. You hear a lot about things when people die. The people die or pets die, and they see a sign. The flower opens up, the butterfly flies by, and it holds meaning for people. Now, the thing that happened recently to me was we had to put our dog down, the black dog, Friday, and she was suffering for the last month. She was still eating. She was still responding, but she was in a fair amount of pain. Finally had to put her down. When she was the last month that she was in pain, and probably before that, she'd throw her paw on something soft, and you'd hear her. You know, when she wanted your attention, she would do that. And so after the day that we put her down that night, I was in bed. We were watching television, and that's what I heard. I heard, as clear as day, her paw sound on the bed. And Chris didn't hear it, but I heard it. And I said, "What is that? Why did I hear that?" It could have been just me thinking about Pearl, maybe having some kind of auditory remembrance or something. I don't know. I don't know. I can't explain it. But before she died, I did say to her in my mind, like, let me know you're okay. And people say that a lot to people that are dying or pets that are dying. Anyways, that was a sign to me. Was it a sign? Was it my imagination? Was it? You don't know. You just don't know. So that's one thing. So we all have those experiences with big things in our lives. When someone dies, or this intuitive feeling that something's not right, something's going to happen, and something does happen. Or we have dreams. It's something's going to happen and something happens. So there's that aspect to, is it magical thinking? Is it coincidence? Or is it our intuition, something breaking through to us, which I tend to think it is. Now, the other thing is, there's all kinds of levels of this, I think. I mean, some people are just intuitive. They call themselves intuitives, and they get a lot of information and they process it, and it's very, very solid. They feel it's very information that's clear and concise, and it's something that is real. But for people that are not intuitives like myself, although I think you can work that muscle and become more intuitive. I think as cultures, as we develop, I think we were intuitive in our history, from caveman or whenever we were. I think we were a lot more intuitive, not so much now anymore because of the scientific whole industrial revolution, and the science took over. But now I think it's kind of coming back, and I think it's a muscle that we have to use. Now, there's little things that have happened to me, and one of the things that happened to me, and it's interesting for this fact, it only happens in clusters. So this is not something that happens all the time, but it happens like for months at a time, and then it stops completely, and then it comes back for months at a time, and I don't know what it means. We've all had the experience of setting the alarm clock for something in the morning to get up, and I know for myself, it goes off, but I'm usually awake 5 minutes before it goes off. I think a lot of people have had that experience. This experience is when going about my day, and I look at the clock, digital clock, and I see my birthday, 12/22. And it happens when it starts happening, it happens all the time. When I'm seeing my birthday, 12/22. And so now I'm in a period where I'm seeing my birthday. I look at the clock. I'm not purposely looking at the clock. I'm not even thinking about it. And all of a sudden I look at the clock and it's 12/22. Of course, it can happen twice a day. 12/22 can happen 12/22 in the PM or AM. Now, I kind of think it's weird because it doesn't always happen, but it happens for several months in a row, and then it sort of dissipates. And I thought, that's something that, for some reason, it's happening to me, and I don't know why. And I think that's something, again, which goes into the journaling that I've been talking about. This is something you could journal. Another journal book is about synchronicities, coincidences, magical thinking in your life. And then trying to see if you're focusing on them and trying to get more understanding, more enlightenment about those moments. So the other thing that that has happened to me is these. Another thing that used to happens to me, and now I deal with them. Now this is how intuition or synchronicities or coincidences have somehow been incorporated into my mind or my heart or whatever, and I actually treat them as something more. And one of the things is I go through periods. I mean, I've had things happen often where I get up and I'm klutzy. I get up the day or afternoon or whatever it is, and I drop a glass. I try to clean it up and I cut my finger, and then I wipe it up with a towel that gets stuck somewhere. In other words, little annoyances, not one, but several, either different or one causing the other. And they're not big major things in my life. They're very small things. But I'm getting angry. I'm getting like, this pissed me off. Because why am I going to wipe a table and all of a sudden I slip on the floor and then, the doorbell rings and the guy's there. Or, it's just a number of little things that are annoyances. And what I've come to do during this, and this is just, could be considered magical thinking, I don't know, or is now whenever these little things happen, I stop and I say in my mind, okay, I know you're there. This is very funny. I know you're laughing over there. It's very amusing. I'm sure you're being amused, but thank you for, your time for fun is over. So move along. So I'm talking to what I think is some kind of energy. It could be a ancestral energy. It could be just someone who has died energy. I don't know. I honestly think that someone is playing with me, like an April Fool's or something. And I laugh and I say, very funny. That was a good one. And it's time for you to go. And then it stops for a while until it happens again. And then I respond the same way. So that's one way. It's silly, but it's a way of using this kind of energy, this kind of synchronicity, intuitive, weird stuff coming in at you and kind of grabbing it, acknowledging it, and incorporating it into your world in a healthy way, I think. I just want to talk a little bit about that, but this is a great idea for a journal, is to be aware of the synchronicities, the magical thinking, the coincidences in your life, and challenge yourself to figure out what it is, or maybe push it a little further, or somehow work it into your consciousness, acknowledge it, accept it, and work with it. Now, this thing with my birthday, that's what got me thinking, after all these other things. I was like, because now I'm going through one of those stages where I'm seeing my birthday. And I never thought of it that way, but now that I'm thinking consciously about it, it's my birthday. It's when I was born. So this could be my parents. This could be, it could have to do with that. My parents died when I was young. So you never know what this stuff is. But I think to dismiss it all, these occurrences to coincidence, is minimizing it. But then if you open yourself up to it, you may be more aware of it. Now, I think the problem is when you're just waiting for signs to do anything. I mean, that's not going to be a good thing. So you have to kind of, not get too into magical thinking, because that could be a problem too. And some people, I think, are just extremely, they're almost conduits for it. And then they get overwhelmed by it. And when you think of some mental diseases where they're hearing voices, and are they hearing voices? No, it's all in their head. Well, maybe not. Who knows? But sometimes if it's inhibiting you from doing things, or not from doing things, but if it's doing damage to you, yeah, that's sort of. I think it should be used for enlightenment. I don't know how that is, but how that works, but that's all I gotta say. Any more? Do you want to say comment on anything I said so far?
There's a good book.
Oh, you mean I missed the book? There's probably lots of good books. What is it? Oh,
There's a good book that I read a while back.
Wow.
Called Sidewalk Oracles.
should I show that? I wonder how that would come across on the thing.
Yeah, it was
Did you read it? Yeah, this is.
a long time.
I didn't talk to him. I just said I'm going to do a video, and he like rolled his eyes. He was afraid. I said you're going to be in it. He rolled his eyes. So no, you can't see it.
You can see it.
I can't see it.
Wow.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Sidewalk. Everything looks
Oracles by
backwards.
Robert Moss. It might be backwards.
Playing with signs, symbols, and synchronicity in everyday life.
So.
I mean, I didn't think of this on my own.
No.
Like this wasn't my idea.
No.
Anyways, I'm going to have to get this book. Was it a good book?
Yeah.
It made an impression on you, right?
Yeah. Nice.
I'm going to put this on my.
He would have put that in the book for sure if it had been something that happened to him. The thing that happened with the card under the chair.
Yeah. And I think a lot of times I think if you were to get a journal and be more conscious of your day, you'd find a lot of synchronicity, a lot of magical thinking, but a lot of intuition coming through that you just kind of dismiss or you don't pay attention to or something. Do you want to talk about anything about yourself, or you just?
I was dealing with the dog.
Yeah, he was dealing with the dog. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Anyways, that's all I got to say. I thought it was interesting.
Listen.
And I'm going to find that book. And maybe that's the whole point of this video, is for me to
Wow.
have him listen and then send me the book
Wow.
that will then make me a medium of really weird events in one's life.
And lose some money.
And listen, I would never charge for stuff.
No, for the Sidewalk Oracle book.
Lose some money?
Yeah, you lose some money. You spend some money on Amazon.
You never lose money on books, Christopher,
That's
because you
true.
gain knowledge.
Wow.
You knowledge.
Wow.
I should pay them. Well, I am paying them. So you gain knowledge. You never lose money on books if you read them, and they're informational, right?
Are you ending this video before it's too long to upload for 8 hours?
Yeah. Hey, thanks for watching, and it's just my thoughts, deep thoughts for
Happy 2022!
2022. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Bye.
Bye. Have a great day. Whoa.